So before I even get into this review, I would like to say that it is going to be a bit difficult for me to talk about this movie without inserting a bit of my own bias, because if you don't know me, I am a big fan of Chainsaw Man as a series. Of course, I will try to keep this review of the movie as objective as possible, but you can always take this review with a grain of salt. So Chainsaw Man the movie, REZE ARC, is the latest installment in the Chainsaw Man anime series. Just like Season 1, it is produced by Studio Mappa, who also produced Jujutsu Kaisen, the final season of Attack on Titan, Vinland Saga Season 2, and more. The movie is a continuation of Season 1, as we follow Denji as he continues hunting down the Gun Devil. Although I think it is important to have watched Season 1 before watching the movie, in order to understand the characters and their motivations, you can technically watch this movie without context and still understand almost everything going on. The movie is pretty self-contained, but I just think understanding the context of Denji as a character would help you connect to him even more and understand why he is the way he is. Chainsaw Man, the movie, REZE ARC, at its core is a romance movie. It follows Denji as he continues to search for love as he meets REZE for the first time, and how he slowly starts falling in love with her, and how it creates a conflict inside of him as now he feels the need to choose between her and his prior love interest, Makima. Through all the action and spectacular animation, at the heart of this movie is the relationship between Denji and REZE. This is my animated movie of the year, and a contender for my favorite movie of the year. Although not to the level of the latest Demon Slayer movie, Infinity Castle, Studio Mappa clearly demonstrates their love of Chainsaw Man as a series by putting their absolute all in their animation and putting it on screen visually. From the quietest moments between REZE and Denji, to the latest 30 minutes of pure non-stop action and explosions, every moment is captured beautifully in the art and animation. The Fujimoto-style art, the character design, the cinematography, and the direction is just absolute cinema. Every scene is only aided as well thanks to the soundtrack done by Kensuke Ushio, who also did the first season of Chainsaw Man's music. Kensuke Ushio is one of my favorite music composers, not just in anime, but also in general, as particularly his work in A Silent Voice is the reason why that movie is one of my favorite movies of all time. The juxtaposition between Ushio's music style compared to the over-the-top absurdity that is Chainsaw Man was something that I was skeptical a bit about at first, but was quickly won over by the end of Season 1. That continues on here with some of the most emotional tracks I've ever heard in an anime. There are two scenes in particular that stuck out because of the music, the pool scene and the rooftop scene. As I said before, this movie at its core is a romance movie, and the musical motif used in these scenes and themes. Here is some of the most emotional and romantic music I've heard, not just in Chainsaw Man, but in anime in general, highlighting the beauty of the teen love between Denji and REZE. I didn't even think this was possible when I read this manga years ago. There is only a handful of movie scenes this year that I still think about. The jukebox scene in Sinners, the final minute in Presence, and the IED explosion in Warfare. All for different reasons, of course, but they all connected to me on an emotional level. And in Chainsaw Man, the movie REZE ARC, the pool scene here in particular, is one of those scenes that I will continue to think about and won't forget about anytime soon. The character writing and the story itself is masterful thanks to Tatsuki Fujimoto's writing style. Just like Season 1 of Chainsaw Man and all of his other works as a mangaka, the story and the characters' actions are truly unpredictable. I mean, quite literally insane, and defies all expectations of a shonen anime. Denji and REZE is the main focus here, of course, but the subplot between Aki and Angel Devil is equally as important to each character respectively. I think a lot of people are going to brush off this subplot, but if you watch Season 1, Aki's actions may seem small here, but are actually key to his character growth. Power is also used sparingly, but still entertaining. Beam, the Shark Fiend, is incredible, and one of my favorite minor characters in this movie. And Makima. Makima's appearances are rather small, but equally as impactful. If you are a manga reader, you probably just laughed at that sentence, considering what was really going on while she wasn't there on screen, thanks to the genius foreshadowing and visual cues of her as a character later on in the series. And to explain further, I just want to talk about it because, of course, I am a big fan of the show and the manga, so just a quick spoiler warning for not just the movie, but the manga itself. So, just a quick spoiler warning, okay. So the amount of times the visual motif of Makima's eyes appeared on screen through circles and other references of circles in frame was honestly astounding, as they were able to highlight Makima was constantly watching this entire time. I mean, just in the opening title sequence alone, it baffled me how many times they were able to to show Makima watching over Denji and Reze and everybody else in the movie. I watched this movie with a friend who hasn't read the manga. He has only watched the first season. And it's funny because I was thinking how they didn't even know this was going on in the background. The foreshadowing of infamous scenes later on in season 2 as well. For example, Kobeni's car crash, or Kobeni dropping the burger, or Pochita dancing, and all of that was just in the opening credit sequence alone, which was honestly really impressive how much they were able to fit in just foreshadowing alone. But later on, even in the movie, specifically in the phone booth scene where Denji and Reze meet for the first time, Reze makes a remark about Denji being a dog and Denji asking why he's being called a dog, which is funny considering what happens later on in the story. I just wanted to appreciate all the foreshadowing for later on in the show, and yeah, I thought that was absolutely incredible how much they were able to pack into this hour and 40 minutes. Okay, end of spoilers. So yeah, overall, Chainsaw Man, the movie REZE ARC, is one of my favorite movies of the year, period. I'm so happy as a Chainsaw Man fan for this movie because Mappa just nailed it on every front. And I didn't even mention the voice acting. The voice acting, especially Reze's voice actor, absolutely killed it. All the character voice acting was top tier. Even if you've never watched Chainsaw Man or anime in general, I think anybody will have at least a good time here at the movie. I generally just can't think of any faults for this movie on all aspects. Like, even just from a filmmaking perspective alone, regardless of my bias as a fan of the property, I think it is executed near perfectly. And again, I know there's bias, but if I was to rate this movie, I think I can't give it anything below a perfect score. I think Chainsaw Man, the movie REZE ARC, is perfect not just for Chainsaw Man fans, but for movie fans. So if I was to rate this on a scale, it would just be 100. Just perfect, in my opinion. And again, I know there's bias in this opinion, but I don't see a fault, really, from any viewpoint. So yeah, go ahead and check out Chainsaw Man in theaters. Go support the Mappa animators, as I'm sure they very much need it. And thank you so much for listening and watching this video. So let me know down in the comments below what you thought about this movie. If you're a fan of Chainsaw Man, let me know what your favorite part about this movie or later on in the movies or in the series is. And yeah, I'll see you guys later.